Hey, shalom, shalom, Most High in Christ bless. IUIC Dallas. My name is Officer Assad to my left.
Soldier James.
So we're here at a nursing home. Came out to do a presentation of Black history and also put some scriptures in there as well. Never forget the importance of history. To know nothing of what happened before you took your place on earth is to remain a child forever and ever. So if you don't know what happened to us before, you're going to stay in a same position. He said this said to remain as a child, so you would never grow. You never know. If you didn't know about Garrett Morgan, you didn't know about these things they put forth in front of us that came before slavery or even after. Those was after slavery, but just the greatness we have, you'll stay a child. You won't grow mentally. Go to the next one. Let's see, 20th century contributions. Go ahead. We are not makers of history. We are made by history, right? Martin Luther King Jr. Go ahead. Thurgood Marshall, born July 2nd, 1908, died January 24th, 1993. This is Thurgood Marshall. He's a judge, right? Let's go to the next one. Let's see. Nominated to be a Supreme Court Justice in 1967. Won the most cases before the nation's highest court, 29 wins. Famous case, Brown versus the Board of Education. So every time I hear Brown versus the Board of Education, that was Thurgood Marshall. He was the NAACP lead attorney, first director counsel of the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund. Let's see this quote by Kevin Merida. No matter what across the South, in their darkest, most demoralizing hours, when falsely accused men sat in jails, when women and children stood before the ashy ruins of mob torch homes, the spirits of black citizens would be lifted with two words whispering in defense of hope: Thurgood's coming. So they knew, hey, if Thurgood Marshall's coming, he gonna win this for us, because he got 29 wins. He gonna make sure that he stick up for us. We don't really have that today, right? All right. March 31st, 1927, died April 23rd, 1993. Let's see this. A comment. The most well-known Latino civil rights activist in history. We have streets named after him, right? Like Martin Luther King Drive, like Malcolm X Drive, or Malcolm X. Same thing. There's Cesar Chavez, streets named after him. The streets named after him. He was a part of the American labor movement. He co-founded the National Farm Worker Association. He won the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1994. What is it? Puede. Sí se puede. Yes, it can be done. Yes, it can be done, right? So that's the power that our people have. But again, through our downfall, not having any self-worth, morals, any backing, we lose that. Go to the next one. Henrietta Lacks. Henrietta Lacks, born August 1st, 1920, died October 4th, 1955. Go to the next one. Henrietta Lacks was a black woman who possessed immortal cells. She had in her body immortal cells. Her cells were used to create the polio vaccines. Her cells were taken to space to observe what happened to human cells in zero gravity. Her cells were used to begin cloning. Her cells were used in gene mapping. Her cells were used into vitro fertilization. 10,000 patents involved in HeLa cells have been registered. Researchers use her cells to study diseases and to test human sensitivity to known products and substances. That was, go back to her picture, Henrietta Lacks. So that means our cells in the black and Hispanic man are very important. Our blood, our soul is very important. We are not just slaves. We're much more than that. Go ahead. Malcolm X. Everybody know Malcolm X, right? Born May 19th, 1925, died February 21st, 1965. Next one.
Dr. Charles Lilly.
That was before, right? Yeah. Then he changed his name because he was trying to find out who he was. He was trying to look for who he was. He don't have he said his last name was whose? He said the last name Little came from who? You remember what he said? Came from his slave master. His slave master's last name was Little. His father's name was Little, so he got the name Little. So he don't know his last name, so that's why it's an X, right? So in 1953, he became a minister a little more than a year after he was paroled from prison. 1954, he became a minister of 2 more temples in New York and Philadelphia. He helped produce a newspaper, Muhammad Speaks, in 1957. In the 1950s, he was invited to participate in numerous debates, including forums, radio stations, colleges, and universities. In 1963, the New York Times reported that Malcolm X was second most sought after speaker in the United States. On June 29, 1963, Malcolm led the Unity Rally, which is one of the nation's largest civil rights events. In 1964, Malcolm established an organization called the MMI. In 1964, Malcolm established an organization called the OAAU, which stands for Organization of Afro-American Unity. Next. A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. Malcolm X. Rodolfo Gonzalez, born June 18, 1928, died April 12, 2005. Let's see what he did. He is considered one of the most founders in the Chicano movement. He fought during the 1960s the civil rights of Mexicans. Because see, the Mexicans say, look, oh, the blacks did it, we could do it. Why? Because we're the same people. The Native Indians did it as well. We're the same people. So don't think the Mexican brother and the Native Indian brother are different. We're the same. He fought the right to unionize. He fought for Hispanics to have access to education. Gonzalez founded Crusade for Justice, a civil rights and cultural organization that advocate the rights of Hispanic Americans. He is widely known for his poem, Yo Soy Joaquin. The poem confronts oppression of Latinos in the United States. So even the Bible says that when you read Jeremiah 50:33, it says, the children of Israel and Judah will oppress together. And when you know the history of the Bible, the children of Israel are the northern kingdom, which is Hispanic, and Judah will be the southern kingdom, because you had northern and southern kingdom of the nation of Israel. It said that we'll be oppressed together. Because remember during the 1950s, it would say what on those signs? It would say no Negroes, no Mexicans, no dogs allowed. We the same people. Same thing when they killed off the Native Indians. Murdered off all the Native Indians and put them on a reservation. Put them in the corner. Go ahead. 18th century contributions. Benjamin Bernacker. Born November 9th, 1731. Died October 9th, 1906. As we see this, what does that look like? That's a book, right? What do you think it's an almanac? Almanac. So this brother created the almanac. Go to the next one. 1953, at the age of 20, Benjamin Bernacker built a clock entirely out of wood that was accurate to the second. A clock made out of wood. Very intelligent. The clock kept accurate time for more than 50 years until his death. Bernacker's true fame came from his almanacs that tracked weather, seasons, eclipses, and were trusted more than Benjamin Franklin's almanac that were made during the same time. So his almanac was better than Benjamin Franklin's. But why we don't know this? We know about Benjamin Franklin. Everybody knows about Benjamin Franklin. But we don't know about Benjamin Bernacker. Bernacker began making astronomical calculations as early as 1788. Bernacker constructed an irrigation system for his family's farm. Bernacker was a civil rights activist and personally sent Thomas Jefferson a letter in 1791 on behalf of oppression and the Constitution. So he's like, hey, something ain't right with your Constitution you wrote up. Because that Constitution was made for them. The Constitution wasn't made for us. Because what we were doing when the Constitution was created. Our ancestors, where were they? When the Constitution came out, what was our ancestors doing?
Working on the railroad.
As a what?
Labor.
What's another word? Start with an S.
Slave.
Slave, yes, sir. So when that Constitution came out, it was written to the people that was free. It wasn't written to the people that was enslaved. So when it said all men are created equal, it wasn't referring to us. They said we are denizens, we are not citizens. We have the appearance of freedom, but we do not have freedom. Go ahead. All right, we're going to skip that one. It's a lot. So Geronimo. Everybody know about Geronimo? Yeah. Heard about Geronimo, right?
I know about Geronimo.
You know about Geronimo. So that means Jeremiah. Jeremiah was a prophet in the Bible too, right? So born June 16, 1829, died February 17, 1909. Let's see. I'll probably have to end it on this. Geronimo was an Apache leader. He resisted assimilation and continued the tradition of the Apaches. So he didn't want to be like the white man that came and conquered him. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to be who he was. Because remember, when they conquered the Native Indians, they cut their hair off, they made them wear suits. They said, save the man, kill the Indian. Geronimo resisted colonization of his homeland in the Southwest. Geronimo fought bravely for his people. To this day, he is known for his ambush techniques in war, because he was a warrior. The term Geronimo came from the history of how he would appear out of thin air ready for battle. So he was ready. And in the Bible, it talks about the traits of this brother. Because in the Bible, they call them the Gadites. A Gad, from the nation of Gad. You got it right quick? So that's what this is referring to. So those techniques and those things was written in the Bible to the 12 tribes of Israel. Again, which are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. God's chosen people. And God has given the ability for our people to have this ability within slavery. So imagine if we apply what the Bible is talking about, how much more power we would have. How much more ability, because if Jesus Christ is a black man, who else is a black man? He came for his people, right? I'm going to butcher this brother's name because it's French. It probably is Toussaint Louverture. So May 20th, 1743, died April 7th, 1803. I was born a slave, but nature gave me a soul of a free man. I was born a slave, but nature gave me a soul of a free man. Toussaint Louverture. Toussaint Louverture was an Haitian general. He was a leader of the Haitian Revolution. I'm probably butchering it. Toussaint led the only successful slave rebellion in the world. He successfully ended slavery in Hispaniola by 1795. Toussaint's actions set in motion a series of global events that changed the geography of the Western Hemisphere and spelled the beginning of the end of European colonial domination in the Americas. So Hannibal, go ahead. Born 247 BC, died 181 BC. Hannibal Barca, go ahead. Hannibal is considered the greatest military leader and strategist in history. At 26-year-old, he became the commander of Carthage Empire. Hannibal defeated Rome in many battles during the Second Punic War. Hannibal's army would defeat enemies with the armies more than twice its size. Hannibal trained elephants to fight in military combat. I don't know if anybody's seen, what's that movie? It's, was it King Arthur? Yeah, anybody seen King Arthur, Legend of the Sword? Anybody seen that movie? Well, in that movie, they got elephants with armor on. So they get that from this. And it also speaks about that in the Bible as well when you read in Maccabees. Hannibal trained elephants to fight in military combat. After the Second Punic War, Hannibal became a statesman and spent his life battling the conditions of his people. See, we lost that connection. We don't care about our people no more. We care about ourselves. We just care about ourselves. Even within our family, we don't care about each other. Right? We have our kids are being disrespectful to the father and the mother. And the parents who don't care about the kids, they allow them to latchkey kid, go do whatever you want. So we've lost that disconnection. Why? Because we have no more morals, no more standards. And the standards are in that Bible. Go to the next. So look, he was on coins. Black man on coins. With the elephants that he trained for war. See that we don't have that image no more. That image has been destroyed. That image has been forgotten. That image has been covered up. Go to the next one. Simius Severus. Septimius Severus, April 11th, 145 AD, died February 4th, 2011 AD. That's a black man. Go ahead. It's a bust of Septimius. A bust is a sculpted or cast representation of the upper part of the human figure, depicting a person's head and neck, and a variable portion of the chest and shoulders. The piece normally supported by a plinth. The bust is generally a portrait intended to record the appearance of an individual, but may sometimes represent a type that may be of any medium or use for sculpture, such as marble, bronze, terracotta, plaster, wax, or wood. Right? So that's Septimius. Go ahead. What did he accomplish? Septimius ruled over the Roman Empire after its fall in 193 AD. Septimius was the first Roman emperor who was not born in Rome or Italy. He was born in the continent of Africa. He reformed the structure of the military and increased wages for soldiers. Many immigrants and conquered people were given advancement opportunities under his rulership. He donated very much to the urban poor while also maintaining a full treasury. So, is there any black leaders doing that today? Any black leaders what do you say? Donate very much to the urban poor? Is Al, what's his Reverend Al Sharpton? Is he given to the poor like it says right there? Not really, right? So that's why, again, we lost that disconnect. So here are the icons. Look, first century contributions. Revelation 1:14 through 15 talks about Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, right? Hey, let's read it right quick. I don't know if it's in there. Go ahead, read. Yeah, go ahead.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 14. Verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ.
The revealing of Jesus Christ.
Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
White and woolly. Who has woolly hair? Black people have woolly hair, right? Yeah, right? Go ahead.
As white as snow.
It was fully white. I got a little white, but his was fully white. Go ahead.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Because it was prophesied that he'll have his eyes will be red with wine. His first miracle was turning water into wine. Go ahead.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
Look at his feet, fine brass. His feet. So the top of your feet match your face. Go ahead.
As if they burned in a furnace.
When they burn something, what color is it? What?
Something that goes black.
It does what?
Turns up black.
It turns up black, right? When they burn it? Go ahead.
And his voice as the sound of many waters.
So Christ spoke with authority. He spoke loud. So we didn't draw this. We didn't come up here and draw this and say we're going to deceive the people. This is a Russian icon. These were painted way before our time. And they have the depiction of Jesus Christ being dark-skinned. Look like you. Go ahead. Look at that. The apostles. Talks about that in the Bible too. We'll get that real quick. These are the apostles. Paul is that, I think it's Paul and Peter. Go ahead.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon that was called Niger.
See, in the Bible they were called nigger. Niger. Then they added a G later. But nigger just means black. So the apostles, the disciples, were black. Go ahead, tell them.
Acts 21 and verse 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Art not thou that Egyptian?
So at this time, the Egyptians they looked dark. Today, those are not the real Egyptians. But back then, the Egyptians were of dark complexion. So they confused him with an Egyptian. Like, you're Egyptian because you have dark complexion. Go ahead.
Which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers.
Right. The point is that he got mistaken for an Egyptian, which was a dark complexion. Look, now we got King David, right? 1 Samuel 16:12, King David. Again, we didn't create these images. You could research this. You could find this. It's out there. You just got to research. Go ahead.
1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 12. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy.
So ruddy says it's used to refer to a red or fair complexion, but it's in contrast to the dark skin of the Hebrews. So that's trying to trick you though. But dark skin of the Hebrews, because they were dark skinned. Ruddy means beautiful, fair. He was a handsome brother. That's what that means. Go ahead.
And withal of a beautiful countenance.
Of a beautiful countenance. King David. That's what ruddy means. He was beautiful, handsome.
And goodly to look to. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he.
Yeah, so he was a handsome brother of a dark complexion. King David. Go ahead. Now, his father. So if King David was a black man, what does his father look like?
Let's see.
His father looked black as well. Song of Solomon 1 and 5. That's King Solomon.
The Song of Solomon, 1 and verse 1. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's, verse 5. I am black, but comely.
It says what?
I am black, but comely.
See that's in the Bible? King Solomon said, I am black. So King David, his son, looks just like him, which is King Solomon. Read it again.
I am black, but comely.
So King Solomon said, I am black and beautiful because my father was black and handsome. Right? Go to the next one. A man or a woman who knows the history is not fit to be a slave. I think we read that already, right? Yeah, move to the next one. John 8:32, and the truth shall make you free. And then toward the end when we shut down, there was a brother in there as well. He was very receptive. He was taking notes. So all praises to the Most High for that. So a victory to the Lord, all praise to the Most High. With that, we say shalom. Most High in Christ bless.
Most High in Christ bless.
What is the nation? Nation is men leading by example.